Let's put some of the shop front walls up through the front of the areas up here. We'll use the ArchiCAD curtain wall command for that. So we'll go to the first, the ground floor first. So if you need to open up your pop-up navigator and double click on ground floor, so we open up ground floor. If your layers are set back, we can just drop this back and set this to plain architectural. Now I'm going to set the first curtain wall line, or the curtain wall line, back 600 from grid Y1. So grab a guideline onto grid Y1 and then move it backwards 600. So then we're going to go into the curtain wall command, which is this tool here. Now if you go up to the settings, the curtain wall settings, we'll go into that first, and probably these dimensions will get fixed up when we go through a few other things. So if you go down to schemes first of all, we'll work our way down here. The bottom line here shows the grid lines in a vertical direction, if you like. Now I want to make grid number 1 here 2400, and grid number 2 600. That'll add up to a 3 metre high wall. So we're going to have from the ground, from the floor line, up to the first transom. So the horizontal members of curtain wall elements are transoms, and then above that to the head element we'll have another 600, 2400, 600, 3 metres. Let's make the grids in the horizontal direction here 1 metre. So every 1 metre we'll have another panel. Okay, so I think we can move down to frames. Now frames is just a heading. We do each frame individually. So we go down to boundary frames. They're the frames around the outside of the curtain panels. We're going to change the type to a frame, not butt glazed. It's going to be a frame. And we change the dimensions of the frame to a typical commercial class of commercial glazing framing is 150 by 44. So I've changed the A dimension to 44, the B dimension to 150, and the H dimension, we'll use an offset frame. So I'm not too sure what the actual offset is, but for our purposes at this stage of the documentation, we can stick to something like 100. So in other words, the glazing element won't be in the middle of the frame, it'll be offset towards the outside, so that the smaller horizontal surfaces are to the outside to collect less dust. Everything else will be okay just there. So now we're going to apply that to the boundary, to the mullions, which are the vertical elements dividing individual panels, and the transom, which is the horizontal elements dividing individual panels. So these dimensions 44, 150 and 100 on frame 20 will apply to all. So we'll go to mullion, frame 20, and change the same dimensions, 44, 150 and 100. And transom, frame 20, 44, 150 and 100. Okay, panels. We'll go down to the panels, and the main type of panel will be glass, so the material's already set up for us. Let's make the panel thickness 6mm thick glass, and distinct panels. So in ArchiCAD you can set up 2 different sorts of panels. We can have main panels and distinct panels. So if you want a different sort of panel in some of your panels, you can set that up here. So we'll stick to the same thickness, and we'll just leave the basic material that they've got set up for aluminium here. So in other words, some of the panels can be aluminium panels, anodized aluminium or something, for example, or colour-coated aluminium or something like that. and other panel, and then the main panels are going to be glass. So I think we've worked our way through. If I just go to the top curtain wall system there again, the nominal thickness here I changed to 150. I thought that might fix itself up automatically, but it hasn't. So our nominal thickness is set up to 150, and looks like everything else is okay. Okay. We'll make this offset line here 0, and that'll make then the offset to, so it's measuring from the inside surface here, as you can see. So from the inside is 0, and up to our glazing element will be 100. And remember, our frame members were 150 millimeters thick. So I think I've worked my way through there. I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to use the single line geometry, and everything else is probably okay. So for this first one, I think I'm going to click from this point over here, this first retail tenancy. So I'm going to click, and this is the most difficult little panel we're going to do here actually. So we'll click from that point there, and I want to take it, I think, right to the very edge. So we'll click there. Now the next click, ArchiCAD wants to know where's the exterior. Is it in here or is it out there? So I'm going to click out here for this is the exterior. We'll give it a height. We want our panels to be 3 meters high. And we click place. So as you can see there, we've placed the inside of that panel with the frame elements with the offset glass towards the outside there. Now if we go to 3D view, well, you can see what I've done here. I did forget to make a change, I'm sorry. So just click on this curtain wall you've got here. We'll go back up to the settings, something I forgot to do, and that was, I think, under scheme. I want to organise the pattern position here. So I want the origin to be at the middle, I think, of the reference line segment. I think if we click on that one and click OK, it just reorganises these panels so that we've got the centre of the group sitting right in the centre of the wall. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to make some changes to that. So if we click on that curtain wall panel, and then up pops a little white box with edit in it. So if we click into edit, we can now edit things that happen to that curtain wall. So I want to click on, looks like I might have a few double mullions or something going on here, and that won't matter. But if I click on this end frame out over here, and then normally it pops up with another little white selection tool, but if you click on that, it clicks all of the ones joined in that direction. Now I want to change those to have a thickness of 0, so it's not there at all, and then I want to change the member type to be invisible, so it ends up looking like that. Yes, we did have a double mullion there, but that'll probably serve our purposes pretty good there. So I'll click on that again, and then you can see that we've got one of these tools again. So click that to select all of them joined, and I'm going to make the frame geometry 0 and the frame type invisible. And then I want to, I think, this extra little panel that we've got here. Now panels you can delete. So you click on the panel, little tiny glass panel between those two mullions. If we just went delete, that'll give us a frameless corner that we're going to butt join the glass up around that corner there. Now while we're there, we'll do a couple of other things. We can select that panel there, and then we can come across to one of these. If we select this white icon here, it'll select all of the horizontal panels lining up with each other, so all of those there. And if we change that to be main panel to distinct panel up here under panel class, that's what I was talking about before. We can have different solid panels there, because we're going to have suspended ceiling up above that line there, so we don't want it to sort of show up. The other thing that we'll do is this element here, just here, now just on its own, not extending all the way through, I'm going to delete that mullion. So that mullion is deleted, and by default that's now joined this into one panel. This panel in here that I'm going to select, I'm going to change its panel, so member type here, to something like curtain wall double door 20. So that's changed that panel there into a door. So when you're working in BIM software with curtain walls generally, the panels, the doors inside curtain wall framing are not generic doors like in the door command. They're normally just a type of panel. This applies to Revit as well as ArchiCAD. It's a boundary panel, and I think you can't delete boundary panels. But what we can do is select both of them, shift select both of them, change its thickness once again to 0, and change its member type to invisible. Right, there we go. And that just readjusts that panel, so now the door sill swings down without a frame at the sill level. It can go straight down to the floor coverings. So over here, you can then click OK, finish that, and that's that curtain wall finalised.